okay? Let's try it for a bit and we'll see what it looks like. Do you guys have any questions or need to see it again before we start? Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3. There's a lot of attacks you can do from De La Riva, but we're gonna move over to another position that I really like because for me, this position, as far as being the top person and trying to pass an open guard, if somebody's good at the position I'm about to show you, I feel like it doesn't matter if you're a black belt or a white belt, like they're gonna have really strong attacks. Like it's such a unorthodox, like difficult position to deal with if you can get good at this, okay? And the position is called a laser guard or 2-on-1 guard. And it looks very similar to De La Riva, except instead of controlling the collar, you control the sleeve. And instead of controlling the pants, you control this material in the armpit. Look, rotate this way. See this extra little seam right here? You're gonna control this. And that's gonna kind of serve as like your collar grip or your posture control. That's the thing that's gonna make their lower back tired and make them like stuck in the position. Okay, so it's here. And then the number one thing you need in this position to make it work is just to not allow their hands to grab anything, okay? So this looks like laser guard or 2-on-1 guard, but it's not gonna work because he's anchored, and this kind of prevents me from using the cross grip, like arm, like disconnected kind of like leverage to be in a better position than him. If I allow him to grab my collar, or I allow him to grab my belt or my pants, or even like these pants over here, I don't even like this, it ruins the position, okay? So we're gonna work this position from the De La Riva, and when I'll set it up is usually when they go to break the grip on the collar. They'll circle this hand in, I'll lose this fight, and then they'll start to break the grip. I hear a lot of beginners say like my fingers hurt when I do jiu-jitsu, like my fingers, I get finger injuries, and I think it's because we insist on grips too much, okay? So like when somebody's breaking my grip from bottom, I'll hold it if I'm in a position where I know I can keep it, but if he has 2 grips on mine, I don't even try to keep the grip, I transition, okay? So as he breaks it, I let go early and I circle my hand like this, and then I start to collect the material on his sleeve. So just when he breaks the grip, I've got him in another position and I start transitioning, okay? Then I'll start to put my foot back on the shoulder, just like we were playing De La Riva, and I'll start to stretch, put my foot on the hip, and then I'll start to control that armpit grip like this, okay? So I'll show you guys that one more time. Right here, okay? Let's take this way. The very first attack I like to do from this position, it's like he kind of gives it to you, okay? So if I have this position, I'm gonna start to angle myself. Right now I'm square with Nash. I use my feet that are on his shoulders and his hips to lift my hips and move myself out to an angle like this. And I'm creating a lot of force into his hip. I'm kicking my leg straight and I'm pulling really, really hard on his sleeve, making sure it doesn't grab anything. And what will happen usually here, because they have this hand free and they want to grab this leg, but because I've angled myself, he can't grab that leg, so he'll reach in and grab this leg and he'll try to pull it off of his hip. And when that happens, you can attack a triangle really, really easily, okay? So I'm here, I lift my hips, I make an angle. Notice the grip on the sleeve, I'm kind of turning it up and I'm making sure it doesn't touch anything. I'm not just holding it to my chest, I'm floating it out here in the world, right here. It's not connected to anything. And then I'll have my leg a little bit close, I'll make him reach, feel like that's not a good option. Once his hand goes inside, freeze right there. Like what better position to shoot a triangle on somebody than this right here? Like he's putting his hand inside, you just have to have the proper movement to quickly like capitalize on this, okay? So the moment I see him putting his hand inside, I use my foot on the hip and I start swiveling back to square. My leg comes up. I lift my hips using the foot on the hip, and then I'm gonna chop like that so that I turn his head for me, right? So my leg is turning him. Boom. And now I take my foot off the hip and I touch my knee to his head like this. See, I don't even try to lock my triangle yet. I go here, and now I lock my triangle back there, bam. And what it does is it puts me in this perfect like parallel leg position. See how my legs are not like this. See how it makes that 90-degree angle? My legs are like this, facing the same direction. Notice also how you can't see Nash's shoulder in the triangle. This is like a bulky triangle. It takes a lot of power to finish. When I kick him and I move him to the side and I bring my knee to his head, I'm excluding his triangle or his shoulder. Okay, and it's making the thing that I'm triangling much smaller. And it's gonna make it so if I have short legs, long legs, he's big and bulky or whatever, I'm gonna be able to lock it really nice, okay? Pointing my legs in the same direction, chopping down, and now I can pull the head, or I can underhook the arm, or I have a lot of different finishes I can do here, okay? So I wanna work on the entry to this triangle, and then we'll go into detail on some of the finishes. I let go early, and then I reach around and I grab the sleeve. Foot on the shoulder, foot on the hip, just so I have a little bit of separation. Boom. And now I'll start to sit up and grab the armpit. I'm square right now. I angle myself so that he can't control this leg. Here he wants to pass to that side, right? It's gonna be hard. I'll go over this later, but it's really hard to pass to this side with this kind of control. But I'm gonna not allow him to have this option. I'm gonna angle myself. And now when he reaches inside, he's putting his arm in the triangle. I don't wait until he grabs it. I wait until his arm starts to travel towards my leg. And then I square myself. And this is really important. I lift my hips and I turn his head with the triangle. Boom. And now I still have the 2-on-1. I'm just kind of showing so you can demonstrate, or I can demonstrate for you. And then I'll lock my triangle, okay? Moving my knee from the hip behind his head right here so you don't see the shoulder at all. And then I'll start to lock it. I don't mind if it doesn't go behind my knee. I'll lock it on my calf first, and then I'll start to control my own leg, and I'll do little chops while I'm pulling. And it makes it tighter and tighter and tighter. And then I'm always pointing my legs in the same direction like this. And now I can finish my triangle, okay? Again, without speaking. Okay, let's try it for a bit and we'll see what it looks like. You guys have any questions or need to see it again before we start? Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Some of the most important parts of this triangle, there's 2 parts that I think are important. The first part is when you guys come back here, you need to gain some altitude here. You gotta lift your hips into the air. What I see is some of you guys have your hips flat or you're not lifting very high. So your knee is like my knee is kind of in line with his head or below, and it's making my shin point at this angle. As you come back, use the foot on the hip to lift your hips as high as you can in the air so that when you go for the triangle, your leg is locked over his back and he's feeling your weight, like he's carrying your weight right now, okay? And also that's the perfect position for you to lock the triangle. So pay close attention to how high your knee is. If it's too low, see that's gonna happen, and then if that's not a good triangle, it's all loose and stuff, if he's very still strong, he's gonna escape, okay? The second thing is, we all know, or most of us know, you need a good angle for a good triangle, okay? So when you come back, don't just lift your hips, you have to move his head to the side with the triangle, okay? So right here, as I come back, I lift my hips, look. See that? This is the same as if, say, let's go to close guard real quick, Nash. If I just did a simple triangle from close guard and I'm trying to finish it, boom, I get everything nice and tight. Eventually, I'm gonna make an angle in my triangle. See, this is the same exact situation. If I want the triangle to be nice and really tight and easy to lock and be able to get around the corner of his shoulder, then I'm gonna need to hit him with this triangle and lock it from that angle, okay? So lift your hips first. Second is you gotta hit him with the triangle, okay? And now I wanna talk about just to finish up a little bit. So as I lift, I hit, and then I start to lock my triangle. Go to your knees real quick, Nash. This is the most common mistake people will make with their triangle, I think. And I'm guilty of doing this too, because I feel like my legs are strong enough that I can do this without having to lock it efficiently. But they'll leave the shoulder inside of the triangle like this. You can finish the triangle with the shoulder visible right here. I can squeeze really hard. I can make an angle, and I'll still get that triangle. But remember, the triangle is the hamstring on one side pushing into the carotid, and then his delt on the other side is being pushed into his neck using the lock that I have over here. So my leg isn't choking him, it's his shoulder. And when I lock behind his shoulder like this, it doesn't do a very good job of closing this space, so I'm gonna need a lot more force to finish. So what you wanna do, it's almost like a head and arm choke, right? So if I did like a head and arm choke, my arm's on this side, and then I'm pushing into his tricep right here, like this. And that's what's choking him on this side, okay? It's that right there. So when I make this angle for the triangle, I don't want to be behind his shoulder. I want to use my thigh to push against that part of his arm, see? And now when I lock my triangle, there's a lot of pressure with the delt going into his neck, but also the thing I'm locking on is so much smaller. Like, it's so much easier to lock a really nice triangle from here, okay? Notice my knee is closed. Look at when I open it normally. Look at all that space. When I close my knee, look how that space disappears right here, okay? So the triangle's tighter, it's easier to finish, but also if you want to finish with the arm bar, like excluding their shoulder creates this perfect fulcrum right here. Like, if I lift my hips, I can pull his arm and there's no way he can escape. But if his shoulder's inside, as I pull his arm, it always slides over in this little hole right here. And then he wraps around your leg, like this. This will happen a lot, okay? So for this triangle, make sure you lift your hips. So as I come back, I lift my hips, and then boom. And then I think about going around the corner and making sure his shoulder isn't inside, okay? And that's gonna be so much tighter, okay? Do you guys have any questions about that technique? Okay. I wanna give you guys a quick drink, and then we're gonna come right back, okay? 1, 2, 3.